I've heard about the Nick Cave Gladiator script, which obviously sounded insane, but kind of amazing.
It's kind of amazing. The thing is, at the time when I came up with that idea, and I was the one that brought Nick into that process, and I was the one that paid him to do a draft. It's so odd because at the time when we discussed it, everybody else that we were involved with that wanted to do a straight ahead thing. No, he gets injured, in that thing, but they stick him in a cage, put on some freaking herbs, and 3 days later they open the cave and out he comes.
It's a miracle.
You can't get the rights to that book,
Yeah, exactly.
But the other side of that was, this other idea that I had. Well, okay, he's killed too many people to go to heaven, right? But he's too good a man to be cast into hell. So you meet Maximus, right? And it's like you're in a refugee camp on the Somalian border, right? You don't know where you are, right? But when you meet him and you realize that he's in limbo, he's stuck between worlds, and the ideas that we had in order to get him back to Earth, and it was all justifiable and cool, and we could have done it. But these things require a whole bunch of people to be facing in the same direction, and I was very, very busy, so I didn't probably give it the time at the time that I should have. But it's odd because a couple of years later, after the same people were refusing that was a cool idea, then they remade that old film from the 50s with Sam Worthington, which is a similar idea where all the gods come alive or whatever.
Clash of the Titans, yeah, sure. Yep.
Clash of the Titans, yeah. And look, there's a lot of characters that I've played that I'd be perfectly happy, doing another episode in their lives. Wouldn't you like to see, Bud White, 60 years old, walking down the street of some small Arizona town, and something happens and he's got to go back to Los Angeles,
Elroy's around. He can make that happen. Come on, we've lost Curtis, but James is around.
Humor. Did you ever see that film, 3:10
to Yuma? Of course, sir. Am I you kidding me? Of course.
So we had this whole idea, that Ben Wade then goes across the border to the Pueblo he's talking about, and he lives there, off his riches until this one situation comes up where he has to pick up the gun again to defend his family, and when he picks up a gun, as we know, things get pretty absolute with Ben Wade, So, I mean, there's, but that's part of that is the richness of the film in the first place, and the types of directors, Curtis Hanson and James Mangold, people like that, they set up a story in such a cinematic way that there's so many, moving parts to it that it could have a second tale or whatever, I have to admit, I'm slightly jealous to the people who get to work with Ridley on the next Gladiator, because in the intervening years, he's been thinking, in the last 24 years, he's been thinking, oh, I could have made that better. I could have made that better. And they're giving him a huge budget. He's one of the greatest filmmakers to ever be in the business. He's like working for Titian or something. He's like, it's gigantic artist. And they all go and get to have that experience that I had when I was a much younger man. So, pure human simplicity, a little tingy jealous.
Hey, he makes 3 movies a year. You'll work with him again. Don't you worry. That can't be stopped.